Welcome to The Nicest Guy in Rock and Roll is Missing, the podcast. I am in the midst of creating the documentary on my friend Scott, Professor Piano Cushney, who I reported missing back in 2018. Scott and I were the best of friends for 10 years, and telling his story is incredibly important to me, even now as I'm in the throes of breast cancer treatments. So please join me for a journey into filmmaking, cancer, great music, and the story behind The Nicest Guy in Rock and Roll. So hello and welcome back to this podcast of a range of topics. So I'm still pretty in the thick of breast cancer treatments and all of that. I am now post-surgery, and yes, as you can see, breasts are gone. I wasn't quite expecting it to be as concave and quite literally carved off of me it would be, and it's very numb, so I've been told that will improve in time. Yeah, it's been hard to get used to, and I've had a few sad moments about it, of course, but I'm starting to get used to it and ready to kind of keep going. My friends did a really lovely breast honoring evening for me right before my surgery, and it wasn't just a kind, lovely thing. It was it actually became really quite important to helping me get to a good place with all of it. So they there was a breast casting that we did, which was fun. I have that. But they also all wrote something really lovely about me, and my one friend who kind of set this all up said it was to help me remember who I am when I forget. And I have to say, there were times that it was hard to feel like myself right after surgery. Honestly, I felt like Neo in the Matrix, coming out of when he first woke up in the Matrix, and there's tubes coming, drainage tubes coming out, and I could not have been more pasty and off color. They inject you with a blue dye so they can find where the blood goes to the lymph nodes, so they can take the lymph nodes that are most likely to have cancer. So I was definitely gray in color for quite a while, and pee out an electric blue color. That was unique and very the things that you don't expect. So yeah, it's really nice to have really amazing people around me who are helping me to just remember myself in all of this and not get so lost in the all the negative aspects of it. One thing that is lovely about the kids is, I would say going through this with really young kids is kind of the defining aspect of my journey. And it's really challenging, obviously. Little kids do not say, hey, mommy's going through cancer treatments, I'm going to go to daddy's side of the bed in the middle of the night. Doesn't happen. But what's lovely is when I was feeling at my absolute worst, and just in terms of, post-surgery, just nothing about me resembled me. And the kids are kind of oblivious to it. You're still mom. In whatever form you take, you're just mom, and that's all that matters to them. And they still want you as much as ever. And it helped. It helped to remind me it's not just about not being superficial, it's about just remembering you are you, even when you don't look like you, Yeah, and then a couple weeks ago, I had a very low high kind of day. So I got the first rejection letter about the film project from a broadcaster, which is always hard to take, but at this stage of my career, I've had way more rejections than yes letters. In fact, I'm actually working on a binder for my kids to show them how you really only need a few yeses in your life to make things happen, and how many no's you often have to go through to get that one yes. And it will either be a really inspirational binder about perseverance, or it'll be a really depressing binder about why your mother is bitter and didn't achieve her dreams. And this podcast will have a really pathetic ending. But I don't think I will not let that happen. This film is getting made somehow, no matter, it is going to happen. Whatever it takes. And then 30 minutes later, after I got this rejection email, I got a call from my doctor that my lymph nodes that they took out in surgery were all clear. So chemo did its job, and I am, from a medical standpoint, cancer-free. I'm about to start radiation, but radiation is considered preventative at this point. And of those two things, yes, I'm really glad it was the phone call that went well. So I get to keep my remaining lymph nodes, and that is the best news. And the tumors in the one breast were completely gone, and in the breast that had the biggest tumor, it had gone from basically like a 8 centimeter size tumor to a 5 millimeter. And so chemo was all kind of worth it in the regards of the lymph nodes. The breasts were coming off no matter what. It's really weird to think that somewhere in a lab my breasts are on a tray. It's just, every once in a while that pops in my head. It's hard to, I don't quite feel celebratory at this point. I mean, it's all gone as well as it can, and I'm really thrilled about that, but there's just so much to come, and radiation, and gonna get my ovaries out, and in a preventative way, and estrogen blockers, and I'm already kind of been kickstarted into menopause, so I'm figuring that out, and they're going to put me on estrogen blockers to really make sure that no estrogen can feed any more cancer. And there's just and then breast reconstruction at some point, so there's just a lot to come. And but in this little gap I have between treatments, I'm trying to get more pitches done and grant proposals done and all of those things, which are not fun, but the little side bonus has been getting to really relive my time with Scott, and I feel very close to him right now, and it's really just nice way to feel. And that's the hospital calling. Hello, Andrea speaking. And podcast just got interrupted because that was radiation calling with my schedule. Fun never stops. Where were we? Well, Scott. And just so he would leave these awesome voicemails and be singing by the end of it and telling me some incredible detail about a musician I certainly would have known, maybe from the 30s or 40s, And I've had a nice nice moment looking on YouTube. Our YouTube channel has been growing on its own with subscribers, and you can find it. It's Missing Professor Piano is our channel on YouTube. And the first video Scott and I did was him doing exactly that, talking about letting his brain just do what it does. And he talked about one of his favorite musicians, Jimmy Yancey. And so we called it a musician to know. And that's something, and then he also did a music lesson. And these are things I want to revisit with some of Scott's friends, hopefully soon. And we'll start kind of finishing where Scott and I left off. But he did a really nice piece on Jimmy Yancey. The Yancey Special is a song that Scott really loved to play. And this was him going through some of the info he knew and demonstrating it on the piano. So I've thought, since it looks like we have several thousands of views on this video, that maybe you guys might want to check it out as well. So here is a musician to know, Jimmy Yancey by Scott. And I will end our podcast there, and next we'll get back into some friends, some other topics as, God willing, breast cancer winds down. All right, have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Here's a bit of Yancey Special by Jimmy Yancey. Tune written by Jimmy Yancey, who is by many people is regarded as sort of the godfather of boogie woogie, being as he taught other people to play it. And the other people became famous, and none of them made a lot of money in those days. This is the 20s in Chicago. But they didn't get paid huge salaries or anything like that, but they did become famous. Among them, Pete Johnson, Albert Ammons, and Meade Lux Lewis. So Lux is his nickname, it's not his middle name. And his most famous tune was the Honky Tonk Train, which is really derived directly from the Yancey Special in Jimmy's style, but is made to go really fast and really required a lot of stamina and power. I haven't played it for a while, but I think I should be able to manage some of it. that's the Honky Tonk Train, which was Meade Lux Lewis' most famous tune. I guess it was a single. I can see where all that is in what Jimmy played. But Jimmy never played fast. He always played very relaxed and loose. He didn't, he didn't attempt to dazzle people with his, his technical virtuosity. He was always relaxed, and his tunes were they were easily apprehended by the listener. Now like the Yancey Special is something, once you've heard it, you'll always recognize it, just because it has that. So if you take this is the left hand, and you go 30 or 40 years into the future, into the late 40s, and you may hear Ray Charles play something goes like this. And that was a Ray Charles tune called Rock House. Is derived straight from the Yancey Special, the left hand. So Jimmy Yancey is a major figure in the history of the development of boogie woogie, and well, the first time I ever heard him, I immediately knew that he was, a major guy. There were literally hundreds of really fine boogie-woogie piano players. There were a lot of them. But Jimmy Yancey's probably the one you can say, well, he was a teacher. Anyway, he could teach the other guys to play. So if you just look for Jimmy Yancey on the YouTube or anything, just dial up his name and see what comes up. You'll find he's a fascinating character who wrote beautiful music, and I liked it.